For years, the sight of the Amazon logo or the mere mention of the names gives me a panic attack. It's not that Amazon did anything wrong to me personally, but I was horrifically traumatized by someone who used weapons and tools they bought from the site. I never saw it coming either. At the time it happened, my boyfriend and I did work on the side together doing yard work and odd jobs for people in our community. One day, we went out of town to a secluded property where we thought we would be clearing shrubs for a few hours. It was the second time we did a job there, so we weren't worried about anything going wrong. When we arrived, the owner came outside and asked us to come to the backyard. All three of us were standing side by side as he pointed to the shrubs and went on about what we would be doing. While he spoke, I noticed the strange container in the yard. I remember thinking for a second that it was a weird thing to use as a shed. Then, out of nowhere, the man whacked me in the head with a hard object. I was immediately knocked unconscious. After what must have been only a few seconds, I started to come to, but I was severely dazed. There was a loud ringing in my head and a pounding pain. I could barely see anything, but I was able to start hearing again. The sounds from that moment still replay in my head to this day. Eventually, I regained some of my vision. Through the haze, I saw that psycho stabbing my boyfriend. I knew he was dying, but I didn't have time to grieve. The horror was just beginning for me. The monster turned to look at me. Before I was able to get up and run, he charged at me. Your turn! He put his hand over my mouth and lifted me up off the ground. I fought back as much as I could, kicking and clawing, but I wasn't able to save myself. He dragged me over to the storage container and threw me inside. I still hadn't recovered my strength from getting hit in the head, so I wasn't able to do much but slow him down. The first thing he did was put duct tape over my mouth. Then he put my wrists and ankles in handcuffs. Finally, he put a collar on my neck with a chain that was bolted to the ceiling. I knew then exactly what kind of hell I was in for. I started to panic even more, but it was too late. That sick freak made it abundantly clear. You're my property now, along with the 100 acres of trees and grass that surround you. From then on, I was held captive in that container. He did whatever he wanted with me. It was unending torture like I never could have imagined. I was chained up in there all the time, except for when he took me out like a dog on a leash and showed me around his property. He even showed me the graves he dug for his previous victims, just to tell me that I'd end up in one right next to them if I ever tried to escape. Mostly, however, I never saw the light of day. I was completely trapped. There was no bathroom except for a bucket which was just a few feet away from where I slept, which was a dirty dog bed. I was given a few things to occupy myself when he wasn't there, like a couple of books and a few movies on DVD, but that was it. He fed me once a day and kept me malnourished so I wouldn't have the strength to fight him. The chain around my neck was only a few feet long, so he used the rest of the container as a shed. I remember a bunch of firewood and a few tools that were always out of reach, but what I remember most were the piles of empty Amazon boxes. So many Amazon boxes. I knew everything he used against me came in one of those boxes. The knife he used to kill my boyfriend, the locks on the door, the handcuffs on the chains. All of them were purchased on Amazon and delivered to his door. All those stupid smiling arrows were facing me, mocking me, rubbing salt in the wound, and giving me a terrific little stamp to remember my trauma by. That was if I ever got out and survived. For a while there, I didn't think I ever would. It wasn't until 2 months later that I was finally rescued. I was always listening to the noises from outside, waiting to hear voices or sirens, and then one day, I did. The police were arresting my captor and raiding his house. I started banging on the walls of the shed, and I didn't stop until I got their attention. The sound of them sawing through the padlocks was music to my ears. At last I was free, but I would never be the same. The memories of what happened in those 2 months haunt me every day. The horrible thing is, I wasn't his only victim. I was just the only one that lived to tell the tale. He had other women in that shed, and other people he killed. And of course, there's the psychotic cherry on top. He left reviews on all the tools and weapons he bought on Amazon, literally describing how he used them to be a serial killer and kidnapper, and nobody ever thought to find out if he was being serious. The story was inspired by a disturbing Amazon-related incident that happened on November 3rd of 2016. Police discovered 30-year-old Kayla Brown chained inside a shipping container on the property of a man named Todd Kohlhepp. She had gone missing along with her boyfriend, Charlie Carver, for more than 2 months. Detectives eventually determined that Brown and Carver had been planning to do some work on Kohlhepp's land the day they disappeared. With this information, they obtained a warrant to search Kohlhepp's property and made the horrific discoveries. After detectives heard banging coming from inside a large metal container, they cut it open to find Brown inside, chained like a dog. Carver was nowhere to be seen, and Brown informed police that Kohlhepp had taken him out as soon as they arrived at the property. Kohlhepp had then locked Brown in the shipping container and repeatedly done horrific things to her for weeks. After Kohlhepp's arrest, investigators discovered that he'd posted eerie reviews for the tools and weapons that he'd used in the kidnapping and murders on Amazon. In a review for a small shovel, he'd written, "Keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies and you left the full-size shovel at home." In another review for a padlock, he said, "Solid locks, have 5 on a shipping container. Won't stop them, but sure will slow them down till they are too old to care." What was even more disturbing was how Brown wasn't even Kohlhepp's first captive. She was simply the only one who survived. Kohlhepp was later connected to at least 2 unsolved cases in the area. He has since been sentenced for his horrific actions.
Why didn't I pick another job? This sucks. I can't believe I'm only on 234 out of 1,000. It feels like I've been here all day. Oh, wait, because I have. I'm here all day, every day. 12 hours, 7 days a week, stuck inside this windowless, lifeless prison. They've got me working like a dog. No, like a slave. I haven't even had a day off in months. PTO isn't even in the Amazon vocabulary. And God forbid if I ever call in sick, they'd fire me on the spot. Man, I wish I actually read the contract before I sold my soul to Jeff Bezos. He doesn't care about a single one of us. I can't believe they get away with making us work 12 hours straight with no breaks. Even the guys who drive the trucks look dead inside. But at least they get to move around. I don't get to move from this spot until I hit my quota. I'm tired, man. I want to sit down. I want to take a piss, a shit, scroll on the hub, eat, anything but this shit. I deserve a break. It's my right. If they won't let me go on break, then I'll just have to do it anyway. What? No way, man. You can't take a break. You gotta fill your quota in 12 hours or you'll get skinned alive for taking overtime. Unless you want to grab me a pair of diapers from inventory, I suggest you shut the hell up. It won't be long until we're all replaced by robots. I hope so. The robots will put me out of my misery. I'm gonna take my break now. No, don't! That's better. Just a few TikToks and then I'll go back to work. I don't think so, employee number 2649837. Jeff Bezos? What are you doing here? To make this worthless meat puppet get back to work. Do you know how much productivity you're costing me every second you're sitting here? I'm sorry. It was just for a few minutes. I'll get back to work right now, I swear. You better. Otherwise, I'll personally take it upon myself to chop you up and suck the meat off your bones. Then I'll grind your skeleton into dog food and sell it on my website. Do you understand? If you ever try this again, I'll make sure to extract every cent of value from your lifeless body. I understand. It won't happen again, Mr. Clean. I mean Bezos. Dude, what happened? Shut up, just get back to work. Thank God I have only 69 more boxes to... go. Hey, are you okay? Somebody call the cops.
Hello, employee number 2649837.
Mr. Bezos, I didn't see you there. I really think that guy is dying over there.
Shut up and keep working. Here, I'd like to give you something that might motivate you to work a little harder.
Thank you, Mr. Bezos. I really appreciate it.
I'm sure you will. Don't forget to keep working after you open it. Bye now.
Sure. Bye, Mr. Bezos. This story was inspired by a disturbing incident regarding Amazon employees at a Colorado Amazon center that lashed out at the e-retailer for allegedly forcing them to literally walk over the body of a fellow coworker who had suffered a fatal heart attack. Rick Jacobs, 61, was about to head home after working overnight at the Amazon warehouse when he collapsed to the floor at around 5 a.m. on December 27th, an Amazon spokesperson said. Plant managers allegedly then cordoned off his body using cardboard boxes while staffers arriving for their morning shift were forced to continue working just feet away, according to witnesses. An anonymous staffer at the facility wrote on Reddit, discussing their outrage at Jeff Bezos for having been forced to work near the body. Another staff made a complaint on Facebook, scolding the company for cordoning off the body with cardboard boxes. An Amazon spokesperson has since given a statement, expressing their condolences to the family and friends of the victim.
Let me tell you the story of why I'm afraid of Amazon packages. It all happened a couple of years ago, back in 2018. I was living alone and was afraid to leave my house. I did all of my shopping off of Amazon so that it could be delivered to my door, and I usually ordered Uber Eats for food. The reason I was so afraid to leave my house was because of one person, my ex-boyfriend. I used to be in a relationship with this guy that I met online. It's not easy to find someone when you're older, so I turned to an online dating site. That's when I first met him. At first, the relationship was great, but then it turned sour real quick. I soon realized that he was incredibly controlling and even a bit abusive. I broke it off with him not long after he started acting that way. The whole relationship only lasted about 4 months. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal to end it, but he didn't take it well. In fact, he completely snapped. I thought he was bad when we were dating, but I wasn't prepared for what he became when we broke up. He started stalking me and trying to force me to take him back. I even had to call the cops on him a few times. It got so bad that I eventually got a restraining order and moved to a different neighborhood, but I was still afraid to leave my house. That's why I just Amazoned everything. I never got to see any other people except for the occasional Amazon delivery driver, but at least I felt safe from my ex. Then one night, I heard a knock at the door. It was pretty late. I was surprised, but I went and checked the people to see who was there. It was an Amazon delivery driver with a couple of packages. I found it weird, as it was around 11 p.m. and past the usual delivery time. But I opened the door anyway since I had been expecting another package.
Hey? You're out rather
It was my ex. He had found me. The next several days were a living hell. My ex kept me captive in my own home, tormenting me constantly.
You thought you could hide from me, didn't you? But I found you. Now we can be together forever.
He took my phone and computer and made sure that I had no way of contacting the outside world. He wouldn't leave my side. Even when I had to pee or take a shit, I was constantly afraid for my life. At first, I thought that he was just going to kill me, but then I quickly realized that he was far more insane than I had originally thought. He actually still wanted to be with me. He told me that I was going to be his girlfriend again and threatened to hurt me if I didn't agree to take him back.
Say it! Say you take me back! Say we're dating!
Okay, we're dating. I'll take you back.
It got even worse after that. He forced me to sleep next to him just like we were a couple. I didn't even want to attempt to leave as I knew that he would probably kill me. It seemed like there was no way out. One night, he decided that we should drink something together. He said that it was our 3-day anniversary and that we should celebrate. I agreed, hoping that he would get drunk and pass out. I figured it was the only way that I would be able to escape. Luckily, he drank pretty heavily. Once he was good and drunk, we both went to bed. He eventually passed out, and I could tell by his breathing that he was out cold. That was my chance. I was so afraid that he was going to wake up, but he really seemed to be gone. So I crept over to a nearby safe box and pushed the button for the silent alarm. Suddenly, he appeared behind me.
What the hell do you think you're doing, you stupid bitch?
He went completely ballistic when he realized what I'd done and grabbed me.
Oh my god, let me go, please!
How could you do this to me? You were supposed to be mine!
He started shaking me and continued to scream at me as I pushed and kicked with everything I had, but he was just too strong. Then a voice operator suddenly started talking through the safe box.
Hello? Hello? Are you okay?
I tried to scream, but my ex covered my mouth with his hand.
Yes, everything's fine.
Can I please have the security word?
There's no need for that. It was just a mistake. I accidentally pushed the button. There's nothing wrong.
Okay, I understand.
Then the operator hung up. I couldn't believe it. I figured that it was the end for me at that point. My ex completely snapped after that. He started pacing around the room and screaming about how I wasn't committed to the relationship. Then he started slowly moving towards me, just as his hands were reaching for my throat. The cops broke down the door and came rushing into the room. They immediately arrested my ex, and it was over. It was revealed later on that he had disguised himself as a fake Amazon guy to get back with me despite the restraining order. The operator had called the police when he didn't say the security safe word. If they hadn't come when they did, then I don't know what would have happened. I'm traumatized by every Amazon order that I get now. They always remind me of those horrible few days. This story was inspired by a disturbing incident regarding a 31-year-old man named Thomas Hill, who was facing multiple charges after he allegedly impersonated an Amazon delivery driver to kidnap his ex-girlfriend. Police responded to the woman's home after an alarm panic button was activated. A representative of the alarm company contacted Hill at the home, but he did not have the correct password. The female victim told the responding officers that she needed help, saying that she and Hill had separated 4 months ago after a protective order was issued to keep him away from her. It was alleged that 3 days prior, someone rang her doorbell. She looked through the peephole of her door and saw a man holding shipping boxes from Amazon. She opened her door thinking it was a delivery, but it was Hill. He pushed his way into her apartment and took her cell phone away. The victim said she could see a firearm in the waistband of Hill's pants. For the next 3 days, Hill stayed by the victim's side, physically and mentally tormenting her and threatening to take her out. Eventually, the victim was able to use a key fob to activate her silent alarm. Hill has since been in custody.